be consigned to the legislative rubbish bin.
Mr Speaker.
We move to the 5-minute addresses. Sue Moroney.
Well, thank you, Mr Speaker. And talking about a light piece of work, the member who just resumed his seat could well apply that definition to himself instead of using that in this House against other members, because he is indeed a light piece of work. Mr Speaker, I'm normally really reluctant to use pieces of legislation that are here to assist and support children to attack members opposite, but that speech, I'm afraid, Mr Speaker, deserves a firm response. If that member firmly believes, and his government, his colleagues, firmly believe that Kevin Haig's bill is what they want to pursue, make it a government piece of work. Put it on the government orders of the day, Mr Simpson. Will he do that? No, because he's a light piece of work. And he is the chairperson of the Select Committee that I am informed by my colleagues has very little work in front of it. Talking about lazy and sloppy, the chairperson of the Justice and Electoral Select Committee that I am reliably informed has very little work in front of it. That is the mark of a lazy government, because there are many, many things that should be getting addressed in the justice and electoral field. But is this government doing any of it? No. It's got to do with that member's very vitriolic speech when he should have been talking about an issue that actually affects families in this country and children. So, Mr Speaker, having put that on the record now, I will now move to debate the actual bill, because this bill is about actually updating the abortion laws. And even the member, even the light piece of work opposite, adoption laws. Even the member opposite said that this was a piece of work that needed to be done by the government. Even the member opposite said that. And then he said they wouldn't support this. Oh, it's on the work programme. Now, how often have we heard that? We're going to hear that a bit later tonight, by the way. It's on the work programme. Hasn't been tabled. No work in front of the Justice and Electoral Law Select Committee, but it's on the work programme. Well, this is on the debating floor of the chamber right now, and that member could move to actually have it put before Select Committee, and that government should do it. The member opposite, Scott Simpson, was criticising the Law Commission and its work. He criticised it and said that the government should never be put in a position where it has to introduce a law that has been prepared by the Law Commission. Well, this is not the first time we've heard it from that government, because they wouldn't do it with alcohol law reform either. They took the Law Commission's work on alcohol law reform and they gutted it. They absolutely gutted it. So it's no wonder my colleague Jacinda Ardern wants the Law Commission to do the work on this complex piece of legislation, and she wants the government to introduce it without amendment for its first reading. And without amendment at its first reading means that in a Select Committee process, if there were issues to be addressed, then that is the very time in which those issues could be addressed. So, Mr Speaker, adoption law, as Jacinda Ardern said, is something that does need updating. It seems to be that we have agreement across the House on that. And here we have a piece of legislation that will actually begin that process, but it will do it in a way where a comprehensive body like the Law Commission actually can draft this, because it is complex. It does involve whāngai adoption. It does involve surrogacy issues, inter-country adoption, a whole range of issues around who can and who should be able to adopt children and to fix the irregularities up. That is not a piece of work to be done lightly. It is a piece of work that an organisation like the Law Commission should be involved in, and if the government opposite was prepared to actually engage with the work of the Law Commission in a way that it wasn't prepared to engage with it on alcohol law reform, then we would have a very good start to this complex issue. when I said abortion.
Materia Ture.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The Green Party agrees with Jacinda Ardern that the Adoption Act of 1950